Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. And are you more qualified than you think you are? Yesterday, I had a free career planning session. I do them every month, the last Sunday of the month, for the people who get my newsletters. If you want to attend the next one, visit the link down in the comments in the description box at Macro and Pay and click to get to macroandpay.com and sign up for my newsletter. That way you can get a private invitation. I only extend it to the people that get my newsletters. But we had our monthly planning session yesterday for the month of October. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I always start the first half of the monthly planning workshop with going over a career education related topic, right? Because I like to talk about careers and I do it professionally. So yesterday what I went over was the 6 types of roles that I commonly see my clients pivoting into as macro social workers, and none of the 6 included policy, because like I told them yesterday, you all have been like, they have beat that horse 500 times over. You know, all there is about policy. There's no need for me to talk about it, because actually none of my coaching, well, one of them, I used to say none, but one has pivoted into policy. But for the most part, my coaching clients come in wanting to do policy until they learn about what all you can do under the macro umbrella, which far exceeds policy, to do change making work. So in the action planning session yesterday, one of the questions that I had from attendees, and if my light keep going off, it's because I'm sick. The sun is going down. I'm trying to catch the last little bit of watching the sun. And so it's kind of dark and I'm using the light on my laptop and it wants to sleep for whatever reason. I need to figure that out. But so yesterday with the action planning session, the second half of it is where we're actively creating goals for the next month of October that they will be working on. And so these are specific macro social work goals, not goals to get a clinical license or a license, whatever the thing is that you normally shoot for. And these aren't even goals of apply to a job, because nobody, unless you come through my program, is suited to be hitting apply. Like if you're hitting apply and you don't really understand what macro jobs are, how to identify them, how to apply for them, how to interview for them, you are getting denials, I say this with all love and seriousness, you're hurting your own feelings, right? There's a lot of preliminary work that I teach my coaching clients to do. This is why they're so successful in getting it, because we create a strategy based on the preliminary work that we do. We don't just jump out in the water and try to figure out how to swim. You could do that. That's what I had to do. This is how I created a rinse and repeat curriculum to teach people through a lot of trial and error, but I still had a big competitive edge. I had a major advantage. I had already had years of really knowing how to get jobs and having years of experience of teaching people how to get jobs and pivot out of unrelated positions. So if you're like a newbie to all of this, applying to a job is not where you should be starting, right? So actually, this is a good video to figure out where you need to be starting. So in our conversation yesterday, one of the attendees was like, she wants to target a job, and I was like, well, no, she was telling me, she was like, but I need an MSW degree. And so I then asked her, well, what is this job? What does it look like? What does it entail, right? And so she begins to tell me, and I'm like, you actually don't need a master's degree to do that. I said, actually, you don't even need any degree to do that level of work. And I began to tell her, how I knew this firsthand, because it's actually a job that I've with an organization that I worked with before. I've served in a policy consulting role before. And I was like, you don't need a degree to do that. So anyway, it led me to want to have this much larger conversation around the fact that you are more qualified than you think you are. And I'm looking at my notes because I always got some notes somewhere. You are more qualified than you think you are. what I know to be true from working with social workers specifically for almost 5 years at this point, I say like technically April 2025 will be 5 years. However, I started like building my business, ideating about my business around September of 2019. So like actively building my business September 2019. So technically I'm at my 5 year anniversary. I just thought about that. Technically it's been 5 years, right? So and I was informally coaching social workers offline, the social workers in my real life, my coworkers, my colleagues. I had helped many of them get jobs. So yeah, I just thought about it. It's 5 years. I need to celebrate something. We almost out of September. Look, my business is no longer a baby. Okay. But anyway, so what I've seen over the last 5+ years is that many people don't think that they're qualified, and like the automatic default is that you need a license, not a license. Let me take that back. That you need another degree, right? So it's not uncommon for a social worker to say, and I'm just making this up, but these are real true scenarios. Maybe someone's like, I really want to do work around, what's the thing y'all call it? It's attached to ACEs. It ain't ACEs though. I don't know the name. I work with so many medical social workers. But it's the thing that determines the outcome of someone's life, and they primarily talk about it in public health settings. But anyway, so maybe you're like, you want to do something that's public health related, right? The default is, I need to go get a master's of public health degree. I'm here to tell you that you don't need that. You don't need it. You don't need it, right? And so what you do need, though, is to get a clear understanding of what a job really requires, right? So I did a whole video on this before about how many people in their career move off of feelings instead of facts, and it's time to revisit it, right? So what I mean by that is you most likely are thinking that you need X, X, and X to be qualified for the job you want, and you're going off of this based on no factual information, right? Or maybe you're going off of it based on like people that you know in your personal life, and that person has a master's of public health degree, right? That's not factual information. That's just what that person has. That's not factual information. Would be that you have spent endless number of hours, right, scouring through job posts, reading the job descriptions in great detail and length. And let me be clear, not job posts that in the job post requirement it says social work, social worker, master of social work degree anywhere in the fine print, right? You have really spent time researching the job market and job postings to determine that, okay, they are asking for this thing and I don't have it. And then even with that, and I'm not being funny, like I'm being serious, because I want to educate I like to educate people. I like to educate the masses. The truth is, many of you are not skilled enough to even adequately assess by reading the job description that you have the experience. And I'm going to say this, so hold on to your seat, okay? Because I say it with love, and I'm saying it from experience of working with hundreds, thousands. When I totaled my number, it's been well over 80,000 social workers worldwide. I have helped people on small islands in the Pacific Ocean get macro jobs, right? And so this is from a combination of my paid coaching programs, my free content, my workshops and webinars. It has been well over 80,000 of you all that have come in contact with me in some way, shape, form, fashion, and learned something from me. Even if it was one time, you learned something. Because many people get jobs from like small interactions with me. I'm always going to give you something to win. So what I see is that many social workers don't even understand what they do in their current job, right? And I'm not being funny. I'm talking real. I'm giving you something right now. And if you are like that, where you don't even fully understand the magnitude of what you do in your current job and what that looks like in the full totality of the organizational system that you work in, and how you are a part of this much larger, intricate operation, you are not adequately skilled to then assess from looking at jobs in an organization that you've never worked in a role type that you've never worked in. You're not adequately skilled enough to look at that from an objective lens and really assess if you meet the qualifications. How you can know that this is true is I'm gonna give you two ways. Is if you go to a job board and look at the job titles and you automatically only look for like social work related job titles, right? I'm just going to make up some examples. Maybe program manager, maybe something with advocate in the title, maybe something with case manager, maybe something with behavioral something, maybe something with mental health technician counselor. If you only gravitate to those job posts and those job titles, when you're on a job board, you only see the job title, you don't see the full body. And you only click open those and you never click open anything else on the job board, that's one sign that you're not adequately skilled to determine if you qualify for macro jobs. Okay, this may be a hard conversation for you, but it's okay. We're going to make it through it, okay? The second way that you can determine this is when you're looking at the job titles and you do get bold and courageous enough, we call them scary jobs, to click on the job titles of the ones that are not, like adequately identifiable as something a social worker can do. If when you open up the job post, your immediate first step is to scroll all the way down to the bottom to look at the requirement section, right? So before you get to the requirement section on any job post, I don't care who it is, because I have looked at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of job posts over the last 15, 20 years. The format, the layout of a job post is always a description box about the organization, a description overview about the department that the position will be housed in, and then a description box about the actual position, and then a description box about the breakdown of responsibilities, and then at the bottom of that is the box around the requirements, and that section is where you have the bullets around the degree types, the number of years of experience, usually a couple of bullets around soft skills that they're looking for, or and then after that they maybe have a preferred qualification section where they have additional degree type requirements, additional years of experience, maybe some type of very specific type of experience. If your default is, when opening those scary jobs, to scroll all the way down to the degree requirements, you are not skilled enough to adequately assess if you are qualified for a job, because that's not how you read a job description. So you already don't know how to read it, which then means that you will not know how to interpret it, and you most definitely will not know how to identify if you already have the experience, because you don't make that determination by the requirement section. You have to make that by reading through the actual bullets of the responsibilities. Okay? So I say that to say that many of you are well more than qualified for the macro job that you want. You just don't know how to properly assess and identify. And then also, more than that, because once you learn how to read it, the job description, you then need to know how to communicate that, both in written format and verbally, Why written and verbally, Marthea? Because written, you will need to know how to convey that and know how to identify what experiences you need to highlight on your resume and your cover letter. Verbally, when you do get an interview, you will then need to know how to verbalize that, communicate that to the employer in an interview. So I say that to say, like, you think you don't have the experience when in reality you most likely do. You just don't know the proper process to identify it. So until you know the proper process to identify it, communicate it verbally and written, your default should not be, I need another degree. Because that is just prolonging the time it takes for you to get where you really want to be in your career. Your default should be, I need to learn how to figure out this thing. I need to learn how to assess if I'm qualified. Right? And so this is the skill that many people did not learn, me included. Well, my mama taught me. Let me be clear. But this is the skill many people did not learn in middle school, high school, college, graduate school. The place that's supposed to be also exposing you to career readiness conversations, right? So I say that again to say that you are already qualified. You just need to learn how to identify it. You need to learn how to interpret it. You need to learn how to communicate it. You need to learn how to package it. You need to learn how to market it to employers. You need to learn how to determine like when it's time to leave a position because you're now overqualified. And this is what I teach my coaching clients. So I gave you 2 signs. I gave you a few signs. And so if you are guilty of doing any of those things, or maybe something that I didn't even name, but you know that is related to like what I just described, you most definitely need to be in the workshop that I'm going to be hosting in the next 2 weeks. It's a workshop designed to expose you to my top 5 transferable experiences that I've identified that many, if not all, social workers have that make you more than qualified to get a macro social work job right now. And none of the requirements have anything to do with your degree or a license or clinical experience or certification. Because at minimum, a macro job only requires a bachelor's degree and 2 years of experience. So if you want to be a part of this workshop, I encourage you to click the link down in the description box. Visit macroandpaid.com and purchase your tickets. Okay? Because you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You're actually losing by walking through the world not knowing how to do this. This is a skill you will need the rest of your life. Not just to get a job. You will need it the rest of your life. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you at the workshop, and it's going to be good. You're going to learn something new that's going to help you. All right. Happy macro career planning. Bye.